are in charge of your own life. And if you are waiting for someone to come along and save you, repair you, or even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the capacity to move your life ahead. Nobody will whip for you. They have chairs of their own. One thing I'm confident about is how depressing complaining is, and how hard I'm working to put a stop to it. People who have changed their perspective to recognize that everything that isn't going well right now is their fault have always fascinated me. It's been quite helpful to me in realizing that whatever I'm unhappy about is my fault. Energy spent on things you can't control versus being accountable to what you can control has been a significant differentiator for me in the last 4 or 5 years as I've delved deep. And it's a very interesting brain twist. I often tell people that the most important lesson I learned from a mentor was that I should ask my father to work 2 jobs. We were always short of cash. We couldn't afford to eat because we didn't have any money. We also resided in a neighborhood we moved to, and I assumed they were all wealthy. We were also on the opposite side of the race. It was lower middle class, yet these people seemed wealthy in comparison to where we had previously lived. And I just didn't get it. And Richard told me, Mastar, that it wasn't about the worth of my soul. It's all about your worth in the marketplace, and your other abilities aren't that valuable. Someone once claimed that we only have 2 options in life. We can either accept the situation as it is or take responsibility for changing it. Many people, you see, want to absolve themselves in responsibility. They only want to talk about the issue. They have to tell you their narrative again and over again every time you see them. Nothing is going to be done for you. There are few guidelines to becoming a true leader, one of which is that you must take responsibility for your own life. Bring vitality to your team through leading and recruiting, as well as leading in leadership and growth. Nobody owes you anything, yet you owe everything to other people. A leader accomplishes exactly that. It would be criminal of you to live here and claim I don't know what to do, because you know exactly what you are not doing right now. You know exactly what you are afraid of and what you've been avoiding, and now it's up to you to decide to alter it. It's something you are well aware of. Never ever you understand what needs to be done differently, as well as the modification that must be made. And if you can accomplish it, you are not delusional. You have a change to win. You can overcome your fear, procrastination, or whatever else you are dealing with. I tell them that they must participate in their own rescue. You must restrain yourself. For the most part, there are no skill sets in community colleges today that will prepare you for the economy or a job that exists. So what does that mean? You will just end up wasting more money and time. We must restrain ourselves. The government isn't going to do it for you. And don't give up on yourself even if you are struggling. Even if you are disheartened and feel like others have given up on you. Between me and the person I want to be right now, and you and the person you want to be right now, there is a skill set gap, and that is all. However, if you understand your objective and feel that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, you can achieve the remarkable. For me, it's not about getting out of that funk of not knowing what I wanted to accomplish with my life. It all came down to the necessity to establish credibility with myself in little gradual steps. And I realized that if I was going to achieve anything in my life, I needed to master my mind. Ironically, there are two methods for gaining mental control. The first is going straight to the mind, which may be incredibly frightening, intimidating, and ethereal. It's fleeting, it's difficult to grasp. The second method is through the body, which is difficult to touch. As a result, I decided that one of my Kung Fu goals would be to improve my body development. And as part of that process, I was going to learn about nutrition, which would enable me to assist my mother and sister. I was going to establish credibility with myself, because it's crucial to establish credibility with yourself. Do it in small increments. Just getting to the gym every day was a small success for me. I stated that I would carry it out, and I was successful. You must understand that I despise working out. So all of you crazy individuals who get an endorphin rush from running, I despise you. Running is like getting stuffed into a meat grinder. For me, there isn't a single thing about it that is enjoyable. So whatever neurological thing you've been gifted with, I'm not blessed with that. So why going to the gym stinks? Eating a dish of ice cream is fantastic. As a result, getting to a better place was a very different path for me. And what that included was simply showing up every day and doing the work. It also entailed reading about human metabolism and comprehending how what I consume affects my body. It was about earning a little bit of discipline every day, knowing that I had already done it the day before. I'm sure I would be able to do it again today. It wasn't like I was eating something I didn't want to eat. And most significantly, it was about changing my identity, which, if you are taking notes, you should take down, because at the end of the day, identity and values drive behavior. Identity and values drive behavior. So if you want to change, you must first modify your perception of yourself. You must start telling yourself a different story. And it's all about the story you tell yourself about yourself. And if you convince yourself you are scared, uneducated, killed from worry, whose family has never achieved anything, you will believe it. Let me tell you what you will become. A fearful, uneducated kid from Wafi who never achieves anything because you believe in yourself. If you tell that narrative to yourself often enough, it will become true. On the other hand, you may tell yourself that you are a student. You learn faster than the average person and are prepared to put in more effort than the average person. You are more willing to read than the average person. You are willing to put in an incredible amount of effort every day to improve your thinking merely by introducing new concepts. And that you won't allow your ego get in the way of admitting you are wrong faster than anyone else. And you keep telling yourself that tale over and over. So you go, you are right. When someone tells you how stupid you are, that you are just a dumb kid from Wafi, that's incredible. Thank you for pointing out that mistakes. Now that I'm aware of it, I can work to correct it because I'm the one who is learning. And it didn't matter where I started once I moved my narrative to that of the student. It didn't matter where I was attempting to go. All that mattered was where I was trying to go. And as long as I had that clarity, I was able to execute because I believed I was capable of accomplishing anything. You don't need me because I set my mind to it. You don't need me because I set my mind to it. A more prosperous economy, better seed and soil aren't required. Indeed, when it comes to seed, soil, rain, sunshine, and seasons in the marvel of life, that's all you've got now. If you blame this, you are blaming everything. If you blame the economics, you blame the schools, you blame the teachers, you blame the sermons, you blame the preachers, you blame the marketplace, you blame the firm, you blame the corporate policy. Is there anything else? When some people have exhausted their list of blames, they are left with nothing. That is the only thing I have to say about it. And blaming the only thing you have to deal with is called a mistake. I'm telling you. It's closer not to realize that's all you've got to deal with. And if this is all you have, don't mess with the seed, the soil, the rain, or the sun. Isn't it true that you don't change the seasons? I will take 3 springs, 4 summers, 9 autumns, and no winters, says the guy. And no, you can't tamper with this. You've got to take things as they come. So what are you going to do to make your life work? So let's begin with your philosophy. Guess what I had to do when I was 25? I had to change my mind in order to influence my own future. I needed to alter my perspective. I had to alter my mindset. I couldn't figure out what was creating my difficulty. And once I had everything straightened out, I realized that everything I was blaming on, the government and taxes, the marketplace and the economy and items, were all too expensive relative to my cynical neighbors. I was able to get rid of that and focus on the true issues, which was myself. My life exploded into transformation. I'm telling you, my bank account was immediately changed. My income was suddenly altered. My entire existence took on a new hue and tone almost instantly. And the early results of making this philosophical shift were delicious. Since that day, I've never stopped the procedure. And I'm telling you that with a little thought put into the refinement of your sale, by setting a better sale and refining your philosophy, you can improve your sales. From today on, your entire life may begin to alter. You don't need to wait till tomorrow. You don't need to wait until the following month. You don't have to wait till spring to get started. You don't have to wait until 60 to begin this process. You may begin it now. It comes highly recommended from me. Some individuals nowadays think so little. They haven't even advertised their sale. You can probably guess where they will end up at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of this year. You have the opportunity to modify how you process all of this data. Here's how you define success and failure. Make a mental note of it. Here is failure: a few blunders in judgment that occur on a daily basis. Mr. Orange is now an automatic assumption. My father, 90 years old, says I can accept a few errors in judgment repeated every day for 7 years. He's never been sick in his life, hasn't taken a break yet. It wasn't that long ago, midnight, we're about to retire for the night. We've already drilled, so now that I've got some extra water, I've been able to get a few more acres going. At midnight, he's all pumped up. We're about to retire for the night. My father is having a midnight snack, which he refers to as small bite eat. He doesn't have to go to bed hungry before he goes to bed. And I'm standing there watching him have this late night snack. What's more, guess what? He ate an apple with graham crackers and drank grape juice. No, I told my father, so good for you. My mother instilled in us all of the healthy habits that learned as a child, right? I'm the fourth child in the family. I've never gotten sick after the big five, which was a long time ago. My 3 girls, ages 13, 11 and 8, has never been sick. I'm here to tell you that the legacy lives long. As I stood there watching my father eat his midnight snack, something occurred to me. I realized that is a bit of it, an apple. But what a day is hard in Lagos, right? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It helps to keep the doctor away. This is a good question for this enlightened audience. What if that is the case? You say, well, Master, if that's true, then what is the problem? You say, well, Master, if that is true, then what is the problem? It's simple not to do so. It's easy not to adopt it as your own personal philosophy. Or the guy messed you up to say, guys, says a headship bar a day. Say no, you've been watching too much television. It's not a Master's chocolate bar. You have to be sharper in philosophy than that to fall for the headship bar nowadays. One an apple a day is the norm. And believe me when I say that, if you make that kind of mistake every day for 7 years, it will add up to tragedy. During the first year, you may think to yourself, well, I'm so healthy. What difference does it make now? You've got to be more astute than that. Just because calamity doesn't happen to us doesn't mean it won't happen to others. It's not all doom and gloom at the end of the first day. Isn't going to happen. You have to be so smart that you can look down the road and say, will the err in my current philosophical judgment? How much will that cost me in a year, 7 years, 1 month, and 6 months? I'm telling you, the financial, physical, and success costs are just too high. If you take a step back and ask yourself, are there any flaws in my current judgment, like an apple versus a Hershey bar? Is that merely a good example of some of my other blunders in judgment? If that is the case, that is where I was when I was 25, having started working at the age of 19. When I was 25, I met my teacher who helped me turn my life around. That is 7 years at the end of my first 7 years in the workplace. Pennies is in my possession. I don't have any money in the bank. The creditors are phoning, saying, hey, you said the check was in the mail. And hey, you said the check was in the mail. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm falling behind on my commitments. I live in Africa. I'm a 25 years old man from African country. I've got a great family and every motive to succeed. And I made a mistake. What is the matter now? I used to believe that the community was broken. The country was broken. And the government was broken. If the APC ever gained control of the government, everything will be turned upside down. If the PDP stays in control, things will get a lot worse. The economy was in shambles. Interest rates are all over the place. I believe everything was messed up. Then I discovered it wasn't the issue. I was making a point of criticism. The only thing I had to work with was my own personal philosophy, which was all messed up. My own blunders, based on my own personal ideology, left me with pennies in my pocket, no money in the bank, and no way to explain why I wasn't doing well after 7 years. A 25 years old African man with a family has every motivation to succeed in Africa. Now that I've grasped this, here is the formula for making mistakes in judgment and failing to establish your own personal philosophy. It is called accumulated tragedy. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more motivational videos. Peace out.